For all the people that actually been in a 5-round fight, you know how intense those 5-round training camps are. Any one of you guys, man, if you want to wait for me, give me a little bit of time, and I'll come back and kick everybody's ass.
From someone close to Henry that he's got like $37 in the bank, and he's literally just trying to do anything to get some money, trying to book a fight. I feel like every time we talk about this guy, it's like, is he actually coming back? I don't know. I don't really put much thought into that. I might have to, whoop Chito or whoop Corey or someone just in the meantime while I wait.
I'm ready though. If they call me, I happily do it. If they call me for number one contender, I'm also happily doing it. So, and I'm not chasing nothing. I'm not going after anything.
This is a problem I did not expect from the top bantamweight fighters right now. Aljamain Sterling, Henry Cejudo, Sean O'Malley, and Chito are all in the mix of a title fight. Aljamain, of course, holding the belt. He just defended it and he wants some time off, and we cannot blame him. Going through training camps for 5-round fights are pretty difficult. They're taxing on the body, and as he was also talking about, the weight cuts on top of that make it so much more grueling. So as a champion, he deserves time off if he wants it, but in that time off, it does leave a lot of openings for these other contenders to make something happen here. And it's interesting because the only guy out of all these four that seems like he's eager to fight is Henry Cejudo, the guy that took a lot of time off. Sean O'Malley, Chito, and Aljamain, for different reasons, don't seem too excited to get back in there against certain opponents. Sean O'Malley doesn't really care to fight Henry Cejudo, at least that's the way he made it seem. But he said he would fight Chito if he doesn't get the next title shot, but the next title shot would be in the middle of next year, as that's when Aljamain Sterling is looking to come back. So Sean said he doesn't want to wait too long to fight again, and he said he might have to fight Chito or Corey Sandhagen in the meantime. But it didn't really make it seem like he was eager for it or he was calling that out. He was kind of like, if I have to fight them, then I'll fight them. Chito made it clear like he doesn't care who he fights. He's kind of like, about everything. I'm just going in there to fight. And that's the issue here. The only guy calling anybody out with any kind of enthusiasm is Henry Cejudo. He wants to fight somebody, specifically Sean O'Malley for an interim title. He's calling shots here. He's the only one calling shots here. Is he going to get it? It's going to be pretty difficult. I know the UFC would love to put on these kind of fights if two of the parties want to fight each other. If two of these guys are eager to fight each other and they're calling each other out, then it's probably going to happen. If Sean O'Malley also starts to call out Henry Cejudo, it's more likely than anything else that the fight would happen. And Chito and O'Malley, this is the one I was really paying attention to. Neither of them are really like calling each other out, even though that's the fight that should be happening. Chito versus O'Malley is potentially one of, if not the biggest fight of the whole bantamweight division right now. And neither of them are going out there for it. Neither of them are promoting for it. Neither of them are marketing that kind of fight and getting the fans excited when this is the opportunity. When the champion is going to take a longer time off, he's going to fight in the middle of next year. That's like, what, 6 to 8 months from now? That's plenty of time for O'Malley and Chito to get the ball rolling on this fight. Maybe they don't have to do it. Maybe the UFC is going to be looking to do it regardless, and that's going to be on the UFC specifically for that. But this is why we like some of the other fighters in other weight classes that call their shots, call their opponents out, and make it interesting for the fans, because at the end of the day, it's for the fans. The fans are the ones that are going to make this stuff happen. If you get the fans on your side, you get the fans wanting that fight. That fight is going to happen. And it seems like these bantamweight contenders are dropping the ball besides Cejudo, which is a bit of a shame. That's why the lightweight division exploded in the last couple of years. From the megastar and Conor McGregor to guys like Charles Oliveira and Islam Makhachev, even Chandler and Dustin Poirier recently, these guys want to fight each other now. They're calling each other by name, and they get the fans extremely excited. That's why Islam versus Oliveira was such a big fight, even though neither of them are like huge stars in the US at least, is because they also made the fight super entertaining before the fight happened. There was a lot of talk about the competitiveness about the fight, about the skills between each other, all of that stuff. With Sean O'Malley, Chito, and Sterling, they aren't necessarily doing it to that extent. They're not getting the fans as excited, and that's a big problem moving forward for the bantamweight division, in my opinion. And right now, the bantamweights have it on a silver platter, and they're just walking away from it. They can make some big fights right now. I don't know if it's the problem where once they start making money, they kind of lose the motivation to get back so eagerly and so actively, but these are big fights ready to happen, and I just hope they do. Merab's out there, Corey's out there. There's a lot of fighters that can get put into the mix, and maybe it won't be the fights that the fans actually want to see. Maybe they're the ones that are more eager. Imagine Merab or Corey starts to call out certain opponents now, and the Chito and O'Malley fight doesn't happen. Or the Cejudo and O'Malley fight doesn't happen. Or Cejudo versus Sterling doesn't happen. That could become a bit of an issue for certain fans that want certain fights. And I could say for all of us, O'Malley versus Chito is probably the #1 fight that we want to see. A lot of people want to see Cejudo versus Sterling. And according to Errol Helwani, so does the brass.